In this video, we are starting unit number 5, Construction and Analysis of Profit and Loss Account in block number 2. We are going to study first two parts, the linkage between profit and loss account and balance sheet and how to understand the measurement of income. Okay, let's begin the chapter. In the previous video, we have seen what is a balance sheet, what are the contents of balance sheet, and how to construct a balance sheet. There we have seen that balance sheet is a snapshot of assets and liabilities and the owner's equity at a particular point of time. It doesn't talk about the details of the operation of the business. It doesn't give details like what is the margin available, how many goods were sold, what is the volume of the operations. All these details will not be given in the balance sheet. For this, we have to construct a profit and loss account. All the operations that happened in the business during a particular accounting period is given in the profit and loss account. Now, how this profit and loss account is linked to the balance sheet, we will see in this chapter. In the previous chapter, we have seen the standard balance sheet equation, that is assets equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. Okay, we rewrite this as owner's equity equal to assets minus liabilities. Owner's equity, as we have defined earlier, is nothing but contributed capital plus retained earnings. Contributed capital means the initial investment, initial capital put by the owners. Retained earnings means those profits which are not shared with the shareholders and put back into the business, reinvested into the business for further projects. Those are called retained earnings, which means profits which are pluffed back again into the business. They are called the retained earnings. Okay, this can be treated as when the revenues are in excess of the expenses, then we will get retained earnings. See here, retained earnings is nothing but all the revenues minus expenses, right? Though now combining these three equations, owner's equity equal to assets minus liabilities and owner's equity is equal to contributed capital plus retained earnings. If we put these two values in the original uh, uh, balance sheet equation, then we will get like this: assets equal to liabilities plus owner's equity, which can be expanded as contributed capital plus retained earnings, which can be further expanded as revenues minus expenses. Therefore, profit and loss account is an integral part of any balance sheet, in that it is an expansion of one of the terms of the balance sheet. Okay, so this balance sheet equation, assets equal to liabilities plus owner's equity, is expanded to contributed capital plus revenues minus expenses. These last two terms, revenues and expenses, which are part of profit and loss expense, therefore they are also affecting the balance sheet. Now, how do we measure the income? Income is nothing but net income is nothing but a profit. How to measure profit? In order to understand profit, we have to understand revenues and expenses first. Okay, what are revenues, what are expenses? In order to understand revenues and expenses, we need to understand the basic accounting principles like realization principle, accrual principle, accounting period principle, and matching principles. If we understand these four principles, then we can estimate revenue, and we can calculate expenses, and from there we can arrive at the net income, which is a profit. Okay, which is also which is the measurement of income. Right. Realization, what is a realization principle? Realization principle says that realization principle deals with when to recognize a revenue or when to recognize an expense. As an accounting principle, it is used to identify precisely the amount of revenue to be recognized and the amount of expense to be matched to such revenue for the purpose of income measurement. Okay, realization means indirectly it is nothing but redemption, getting cash by selling something, converting non-cash resources and rights into money. I may not selling is may not be the right word. Technically, we have to call it like converting non-cash resources and rights into money is the realization or redemption. When should we recognize this revenue? Revenue is generally recognized when goods are delivered or services are rendered. Means when an exchange happens, then revenue is treated to be occurred. Revenue happened. Okay, not necessarily cash is exchanged. When a goods is sold, the other person may not pay you the cash immediately, but still, as per the realization principle, we have to treat a revenue is generated. Okay, Realization being the point of recognition of revenue, means at what time revenue is generated. So by taking that into account, as a consequence, it also considers the expiration of costs incurred in making available such goods or services. Means for generating that revenue, what costs have been incurred, how much cost has been expired, or how much assets have been consumed in generating that revenue. That aspect also will be taken care into. So that is about the realization principle. So as a result, what is happening? By implication, if costs are incurred in producing the goods, such costs are not considered as expenses unless sales are made. Which means if sales has not happened, then cost incurred in the production of goods cannot be treated as an expense. Okay, this is the realization principle. There are two exceptions to this realization principle. For example, there is a construction contract, long run construction contract. Here, this realization principle cannot be strictly applied like something has been delivered, but revenue is not, but cash is not yet paid, therefore, you can treat it as revenue. No, it is not like that. Only proportionate or partial completion, partial amount is treated as a revenue in this case. Therefore, long run construction contracts or long run installment sales contracts, depending on the uncertainties involved, revenue is regarded as realized only in proportion to the actual cash collections. Proportionate amount is treated as a revenue, means not full amount. Full amount cannot be treated as revenue in these cases. The next principle is accrual principle. Accrual principle tries to evaluate every transaction in terms of its impact on the owner's equity. If revenue is increased, owner's equity will be increased. If costs are increasing, then owner's equity will be decreasing. So the effect that is observed on the owner's equity from revenues and expenses is measured by the accrual concept. Okay, the essence of the accrual concept is that net income arises from events that change the owner's equity in a specified period, and that these are not necessarily the same as change in the cash position of the business. Whether cash is coming or not, it doesn't matter. But when revenue is recognized or expense is recognized, that will affect the owner's equity. Okay, there are questions here. Profit and loss account is a summary of dash and dash for an accounting period. It is a summary of revenues and expenses. Realization in accounting is the basis of dash recognition, revenue recognition, or money recognition. Income measurement is achieved by expense, matching revenues with expenses, matching revenues with costs. Costs with respect to realized revenues are considered as expenses. Recognized revenue dash to owner's equity. Recognized revenue increases the owner's equity. Expenses decrease in the decrease of the owner's equity. Expenses could be recognized in relation to dash realized or an accounting period or a dash period. Okay, leave this. You can see later. Okay, what is this accounting period principle? This realization of revenues or accrual of revenues can happen only during the accounting period only. That is the accounting period. Any measurement happens only during the accounting period. The realization accrual principle, as we have seen earlier, will have to be applied in the context of accounting period. Normally, this accounting period is 1 year for most of the enterprises. Some enterprises also generate take accounting period as weekly. Some sincere companies, very good companies are there. They will generate statements for every week. Monthly generation of statements are also there for some companies, but normally majority of the companies follow 1 year accounting period, which means at the end of that accounting period they will give the statements. What is matching? Matching means matching expenses with revenues. In a narrow sense, this means deducting from revenues of a period the cost of goods sold or other expenses. Means you remove the expenses from the revenues. That is the matching. Whatever expenses incurred in the generation of revenues, that has to be removed, and the remaining is the net income. That is the matching principle. What is a revenue? Oh, Okay, we have seen already. Now, revenue, there are two types of incomes in revenue is recognized. Okay, I will read again. Revenue is recognized when the enterprise has a right to income. In practice, we make a segregation of an enterprise's income as obtained from its main operations and from activities incidental to the main operations. The former is referred to as operating income and the latter as other income or non-operating income. If an enterprise gets some income from the main operations, it is called operating income. Operating income. Any other income from other activities or ancillary or incidental activities, that income is called non-operating income. Realized revenue, as we have seen earlier, need not be realized in cash. If right to receive that income is created or the time to which the income relates has expired, we treat the income as accrued. It means if the accounting period is crossed and the right to receive the amount is generated, then it is treated as an accrued amount. For example, a credit sale to be collected during the next accounting period is an income of this period. Credit sale means sale has happened but amount has not been paid by the customer. That is a credit sale. Okay. The right to receive the amount is occurred already. Therefore, it is to be treated as a revenue in this accounting period. Similarly, interest to be received on a specified date is treated as accrued and hence earned for the period covered by the current accounting period. Measurement of expenses. Expenses are nothing but costs incurred in connection with the earnings of revenue, costs incurred for producing goods, costs incurred for producing services. As such, the point of reference for recognition of expense becomes the recognition of revenue. Costs incurred do not become expenses until goods or services in question are exchanged, which means unless a sale is happened, cost cannot be treated as an expense. Expense is a sacrifice made or resource consumed, means when an asset is completely utilized or partially utilized for generating revenues, then we can say that an expense is occurred. Thus, cost is not synonymous with expense. Only when the cost is expired, only when an asset is consumed, only when a resource is utilized, then it is treated as an expense. Okay. There is an example here. A person purchased 1000 rupees of goods. Purchase price of the merchandise is 1000 rupees. He has generated a revenue of 750 rupees by selling half of the merchandise. He sold half of the goods for 750 rupees. The cost of half of the goods is 500 rupees. So that is the cost. Cost with respect to the revenue earned. See, 500 rupees worth goods are sold for 750 rupees. Means he got a profit of 250 rupees. This 500 rupees, which is the cost of the goods, is the uh, is matched with the revenue. Okay, this is the expense. Okay, this can be treated as an expense. The remaining 500 which is not yet sold is treated as an inventory. This cost is not yet expired. The unexpired cost, which is an asset, is treated as an inventory. Generally, unexpired costs represent assets. Now, the American Accounting Association provides the following description for expense. What does it say? Expense is the expired cost which is consumed directly or indirectly related to a given fiscal period of the flow of goods or services to the market and of related operations. So, in the company's operations, if a asset is consumed, if something is expired, cost is expired, if a resource is completely utilized either directly or indirectly, these two words are important, directly or indirectly, then that cost is to be treated as an expense. Only then that cost is to be treated as an expense. Okay, now we will see expenses of a given period can be of three different types. Expenses pertaining to this year, which means costs incurred during the accounting period which become expired costs during the same period, means costs which are completely utilized for production and sale of goods. That is expenses pertaining to this year. Costs incurred in the previous accounting period and that becomes expenses or expired costs during this year. Okay, you don't get confused with the word expired costs. Expired costs means nothing but assets utilized. Assets are resources utilized, resources consumed for generating revenues for sale of goods. For example, inventories which are left out, or stock which is left in the previous accounting period, they are treated as unexpired cost in the previous accounting period. If they are sold, if some part is sold in the present accounting period, then they are to be treated as a cost in the present accounting period. The amount of inventory which represented unexpired costs and hence an asset the close of the previous accounting period becomes expired cost and hence expense during the period in which it is sold. And the other type of expenses is like this: expense of this year, present year, the monetary outlay, the money for which will be made during a subsequent period. Means expense is made by bringing some debt, by generating some debt, a liability is created. That is one type of expense. Now expenses are recognized under the following circumstances. What are the different circumstances when an expense is recognized? See, we have seen here earlier, direct or indirectly, expense is the expired cost directly or indirectly related to the given fiscal period. So we will see here. See the second point here, an indirect association with the revenue of the period. In an accounting period, a company generates some revenue. In the generation of revenue, there are some activities which are indirectly related, like paying rent for the company's shop, salaries to the employees, insurance for the vehicles, depreciation of the machinery. All these things are indirectly related to the revenue generation. Therefore, they are also be treated as expenses. These are not directly related in the revenue generation. They are indirectly related. What are directly related? Those raw materials, those goods which are directly used for generation of revenue. Okay. Measurable expiration of assets, though not associated with the production of revenue for the current period. For example, there are other expenses. Which type of expenses which are not at all related to the generation of revenue, but still, suppose there is a flood, there is an earthquake, there is a fire, then some assets will be gone. That is to be treated as a loss. This is also to be treated as an expense in that period. Okay. Assets that become expenses. What kinds of assets that can become an expense? Inventories, prepaid expenses, and long-term assets. These three can be treated as expenses, and at what times? Inventory of merchandise becomes expense when it is sold, which means some part is utilized. When it is utilized, it is to be treated as an expense. Prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses represent expenses which are made in advance prior to their actual use. Thus, they represent unexpired cost. Prepaid expenses is actually an asset because if it is not paid in advance, cash is available with the company for utilization in the current period. So, since it is already paid, it is to be treated as an asset. Cash is an asset. It is a form of cash, indirect form of cash. Therefore, prepaid expenses are treated as assets. Since this is unexpired, asset is there and it is not utilized in the current period, it is to be treated as an asset, unexpired cost. They become expenses when the services are used or assets are consumed. When will they become expense? That unexpired cost or asset which is in the present period, that it will become expense when it is actually utilized in the next period. Okay. Long-lived assets. Fixed assets have a limited useful life. The cost of such assets expire during the life of the asset in question. Such expiration of costs of assets are referred to as depreciation, which is nothing but simply, in simple terms, it means that most of the fixed assets remain only for a certain period of time. Every year, they are used in the production of goods and services in a company. As they are being utilized, their service is to be reduced. That reduction of service or expiration of cost of that asset is nothing but the depreciation. Okay, these are the first two parts in this unit. The remaining parts we will see in the next video. Stay tuned and bye bye.